Okay, so the European Union just gave Angela Merkel its highest honor, the European Order of Merit. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's like an institution gave an award to a person that served the institution. And so it's basically a circle jerk, right? Because you don't have the actual people of the European Union voting on this, or it wasn't that EU politicians campaigned. It's like, hey, if you elect me, like, I will give the Medal of Honor to Angela Merkel. Like, no, it's basically showmanship, right? It's like for the cameras, like the European Union congratulates the European Union. Now, Mario Nawal is like, oh my goodness, you gave it to the woman who opened the borders, who did it. Yeah, she consolidated the European Union. Like, look, if a right-wing party would have given the medal to Angela Merkel, I would have been shocked, right? But when the leftist European Union that has benefited from the policies and the people at the European Union have gotten more powerful and more wealthy since Angela Merkel, like, of course they're going to give the medal to her. Like, who do you expect the European Union is going to give the medal to, huh? Like, if you are in the European Union and you are making 10,000 euros a month just by sitting your fat ass in a chair, and it's because of Angela Merkel, be honest, right? Like, be honest. Who would you give the medal to? Huh? Right, to Orban? Huh? You would give it to Viktor Orban? No, you'd give it to Angela Merkel. Now, here's the interesting thing. She fucking deserves it. Like, from the prism of the European Union, there's probably no better person that has got the European Union where it is today, more so than Angela Merkel. And it's important to actually notice how she did it, because turns out she was pretty smart. Again, she wasn't smart for your benefit, right? Like, she wasn't smart in order to make your life better, but when it came of, like, how to depower you, how to censor you, and make it in a way so that people don't protest, oh my goodness, like, her IQ was off the charts. Now, here's what she did, because I actually watched a couple of interviews, and it seems that her strategy was consistently the same. So, if you look at what she did in Germany, she managed to remain in power for more than a decade and a half. Like, that is a record for a person to remain in power in a democratic society. Because normally, elections happen, right? Normally, you get to be ousted by someone else, and then sure, like, you can try again. I mean, look at the United States. You know, they have Joe Biden for 4 years, and then you have Trump. Like, the system continues, right? But basically, when you have a genuine democratic nation, the parties change hands, right? Not in Germany, not in Russia, not in China, not in dictatorial places. But every nation that manages to have, like, elections like Germany or Russia, right? They have different systems to ossify the leader, to make sure that the leader remains in power for more than a decade. Now, the Russian system is very brutal, right? The Russian system is basically, if you run against Putin, you fall off a window. Like, everyone knows this. It's happened so many times up until now, to the point where it's an open secret, right? Russia has elections, but Putin always wins, because anyone that's against him, they get persecuted, they get thrown off windows. When you look at China, well, China just doesn't have elections, right? So they're a little bit more honest. But Germany is interesting. Like, how did Germany manage to get Angela Merkel? Because back when she was in power, you didn't have Antifa to, you know, harass the AfD. You didn't have, like, all these other institutions to turn the government and public opinion against the AfD. No, turns out that she actually won fair and square. How did she do it? Well, she managed to solidify the center, right? She made the CDU-SPD alliance, which basically got the moderates together. And that leaves the far left and the far right. At the time, the far right was almost non-existent. And when I say far right, I mean the German way of far right, which is like anyone that has even the smallest idea of limiting immigration. That's what far right means to Germany. But again, when Merkel was initially in charge, like, she didn't have a strong far right opposition. What she did have was a far left opposition. The Greens. The Greens were very powerful. And here you have, like, Mario Narwal saying that she is the woman that handed Europe's energy to Putin. Yes, but you need to understand why she did it. Because this is interesting. The reason she did it is because the German people wanted it. The German people were very prone to subversion from Russia, especially when it came to nuclear energy, right? Like there was this huge thing in the like during the Cold War, where, you know, due to proximity to Russia, active measures were deployed against Germany, and so like a lot of propaganda and a lot of green movement parties were founded. And the idea was that nuclear power is dangerous because Russia can't boil rocks, and therefore you're not safe because maybe your country can't boil rocks either. After that, they increased exponentially. There's a lot of movies, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of fiction in Germany, there's a lot of journalists, there's a lot of, you know, whatever. And they constantly like rang the drums of environmentalism and nuclear bad. Again, the environmentalism of the 90s was very different than the one we have today with carbon. In the 90s, the environmentalism was that you need to protect the forests, you need to protect the rivers, and you need to stop boiling rocks. Now, some of it was successful, some of it not, right? But it was successful enough in order to create the Green as a political party, right? And so, after Fukushima, the Greens became a powerful force. Like, according to the polls, they may have won the elections. And so what Angela Merkel did is that she stole their platform. And she basically said, you know what? Fine, we're going to shut down the nuclear reactors. And so people didn't vote for the Greens at the time. They voted for her party. Because it's like, why vote for the upstart when the upstart may never get in power and get what they want? When you can literally vote for the party that's currently in power, and they will enact the policy. And so if Angela Merkel wouldn't have destroyed the nuclear energy of Germany, the Greens would have. And the reason is because the people in Germany were literally stupid, right? Like they fell to the propaganda at the time, to the environmentalist propaganda. And according to the polls and the statistics, they legitimately, unironically, wanted to shut down their nuclear power. It's kind of, you know, it's difficult to imagine something like this, but sometimes people are definitely that stupid. Like, what can you do? Now, she did the same with the far right. She also stole some of the policies, to the point where a lot of people that are studying politics are actually trying to coin the Merkel strategy, which is the idea that you solidify the center and you're waiting for, you know, you're suppressing the far left and the far right. But when the suppression isn't enough, when you realize that they're actually gaining in the polls and they can become a threat, you steal their platform. The current prime minister of Germany did literally that. If you guys remember, by the way, why is Mario Nawal posting from Russia Today? Like, that's very interesting, isn't it? I mean, couldn't he find like a Western? I mean, there's no problem to post from Russia Today. I just noticed it's posting from Russia Today. It's not available in Europe, right? So like, he must be using a VPN just to watch Russia Today. Anyway, still, the whole thing with the current prime minister of Germany is that he also promised to cap immigration, right? Like, he promised he's going to be tougher on illegal immigration. The moment he got in power, he didn't pursue his campaign promise. But he did promise that, and he stole some votes from the AfD by doing so, right? The difference between him and Merkel is that Merkel actually did it. Now, could Merkel have said, yes, we're going to destroy the nuclear power plants, and then not do it? Yeah, she could, but at the time, freedom of speech actually existed in Europe, right? So, like, it was a lot more difficult to sanitize social media and the internet if you did something like that, which have meant that in that time period, she would have probably gotten away with it, one election, but the next election, her party would have been destroyed. Kind of like what's happening with Labour in the UK, or the Tories, right? Like, these are both parties that have tried the Merkel strategy, but the difference between the Merkel strategy working and not working is that you generally have to do when you steal the extremist platform. Like, you have to follow through, right? And so the Tories tried that. I mean, the Tories basically said, we're going to stop immigration, and they tried to steal Farage's platform by doing so. And they probably did get a couple of votes, right? And then they get in power, they do nothing. So the public punishes them and votes Labour, right? Labour doesn't follow their campaign promises either, and so they get punished as well. The Merkel strategy is very effective, right? It's the idea that we're governing, we're doing everything we want, we're grifting, like we're all in this together, we're making 10,000 euros a month. Until we look at the polls and we say, the polls aren't big enough. Just keep suppressing them, censor them, send some audits after them, just harass them, heckle them. And then you look at the polls again, it's still fine. And then when you look and you notice, the next election, if there's turnout, we can actually lose some seats. Okay, let's steal their platform. And you don't steal their entire platform. You just steal like enough, right? Like, for example, you don't say you're going to stop all immigration. You say you're going to stop the illegal one, right? But it's enough to get a couple of voters and damage their percentages and their chance to win. So, anyway, this was Merkel's strategy. She is indeed an intelligent and very savvy politician. Too bad that her intelligence and savviness wasn't put for the good use of the common citizen. And it wasn't because Angela Merkel didn't look at the German people as, a ethnic group with a culture and interest in preserving that culture. She looked at them as her tax base, as her pay pig is, in order to implement her international project. And so this is why the European Union is giving her the medal, because she used German money, the German engine, right, the work, blood, and sweat of the German people, in order to fund and maintain the European Union, which became what it is today. People congratulating themselves on a job well done. Like I didn't vote for this lady, for example. I didn't vote for Angela Merkel to open the EU's borders either, because that's another thing that she did, right? The immigration crisis. If you guys remember, there was, despite the fact that we're not allowed to show sensitive content on YouTube, she did have no problem showing the sensitive image of a dead child on the beaches of Greece. It was everywhere, right? And the idea was, oh my goodness, these poor people, coming across the world, let's use the taxpayer money, right? Let's use the German pay pigs to fund them. If you come to Germany, you get asylum. And all of a sudden, people came, right? Because they're not retarded. Like, if you pay them, they come. But once they came in Germany, because the European Union already had open borders, now they're in Europe. Interesting. And now she gets to decide for everyone refugee quotas. And then you have, the industrial refugee grifting system that exists even today. Like, you have the huge number of lawyers that are paid by taxpayer money in order to take cases every time a nation tries to deport a single immigrant. The hotel owners, right, that are grifting. Politicians that get to enact hate speech laws in order to protect minorities, protect themselves, actually. The political parties that won election after election because of the refugees, right, because the refugees keep voting for them, diluting the vote of every single refugee, dilutes the votes of the people that are already in the country. So yeah, it's not surprising that Angela Merkel managed to get the highest honor, the European Order of Merit. Who are they going to give it to? The leader of the AfD? Let's be honest. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.